right. So, good evening, everybody. Welcome to My Shadow. We are staying in the closet. Mom and Dad decided to stay together, and so he's not going anywhere.
Boy, that was a hell of a fight, wasn't
it? Please, like, subscribe if you'd like.
Well, I think the last episode we covered a lot of it, and there were questions whether we'd be back in the headquarters in Rhode Island. But it seems like Mom and Dad worked it out, and then in the way that they do, we're not going to be changing headquarters, and we're going to be staying in the closet. All right, that's kind of where we belong, isn't it? We kind of belong where the headquarters are now.
Yeah.
So this will be kind of like a week in review. We don't really have any interviews or anything lined up, but some interesting stuff happened this week.
Yeah. Let's see here. What was it? It was the ruckus in the closet, and before that, Cuppa.
I don't know when our weeks start, but the fun thing about Kyle is he's so unpredictable. Last Friday, he comes out of nowhere. It was towards the end of the show. He was feeling a little bit loose, and he revealed to us that kamikaze Japanese planes were a myth. Did you guys hear that?
No, I didn't hear that.
I did hear that. I heard
that.
Not true, by the way.
He went through this whole thing about they were a myth, and apparently his philosophy was that no way Japan would destroy their valuable planes and pilots. He had this whole thing. People were typing to him in chat, Kyle, I don't think this is true. I was like, Kyle, there's thousands of hours of World War II footage. I think you just could see it if you want. But he had this whole concocting. So I always thought it was fascinating, and you couldn't budge him. That's the best thing about Kyle and arguing. You can't really budge him.
That is what he said. Right? He said that that Japan wouldn't spend that money to just send the planes for the one mission, right? That was what he said.
Yeah, that was his philosophy. People were trying to tell him, no, there was actual planes just built for like a guided bomb, and he wasn't really.
Yeah,
he kind of gets in the zone where he won't listen to other opinions.
Yeah.
But it was out of nowhere. It's not like we were talking about Japan.
You weren't even talking about
planes.
Yeah, wasn't that the whole premise behind Pearl Harbor attack, that they used kamikaze planes?
I'm not sure about Pearl Harbor, but at the end of the war, they certainly did. I mean,
yeah, they tried to sink aircraft carriers in the battle when they were over in Japan.
Yeah, they were turning them into guided missiles, which was, high
defending
technology
their
back
homeland.
then. Most of those bombs missed, but it's probably something like a myth that he heard back in the Navy or when they were sailing around, even though it was, 50 years afterwards. Mm-hmm. I don't know, some of these, they sit around and tell stories, and so he told that to us. I hope he addresses it again, because love to hear more about there were no kamikaze planes in World War II. Then we finally got a break from Red Bar and the conspiracy stuff, because Carolla's getting a divorce, and he spent a good portion of I think Saturday covering that, and I was very interested in that. Finally he played something I was interested in.
All right, so QWERTY and Cuppa, or Papa Gorilla, did you guys hear what Carolla was saying about getting divorced? Did he say something about
I don't even know how
his wives not being on the same page, like sexually or something?
Was it political or was it sexual?
I think it was a little hard because everyone in his studio knew this for a year, and so it was kind of tongue in cheek. Oh, we just didn't have the right sexual compatibility or something like that. I don't know. Carolla was very bizarre explaining the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe she got tired of his cadence. He has kind of like a whiny delivery.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you want to divorce me? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's.
Who was that? Was that Papa Gorilla with his voice?
No, that
awesome.
wasn't me.
Oh. That was cute. Sorry.
Kyle had a great joke. He said after the divorce, he'll be driving his Paul Newman car around LA, laughing at him.
He said he was happy that some younger guy was going to be driving.
Oh yes, that
Corolla
was it.
Spargo.
A 21-year-old guy was going to be
Mhm.
banging Lynette Crillarola driving his Paul Newman car around LA.
Jeez.
Comedians in cars getting divorces.
But he's one dude that's never going to work again because of his political ideology.
Well, it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Besides
Finally-
his show that he does, but I mean, he'll never be in a movie or on a TV show again.
Boy,
You
that's
don't think
gotta
he'll
a
be
big
on the
check
Adam
he's gonna
on
write.
the Jimmy Kimmel show?
Oh fuck no!
That'll be
Are
about
we
a
allowed to
$20 to
swear? I
$30
don't
million
know if we're
check he
allowed
has
to
to
or not.
write to Lynette.
I don't know what YouTube decides what we can and can't say.
But I enjoyed that. That was much better than Red Bar or.
Oh yeah, Red
What
Bar
else has he been making us watch? Still watching that conspiracy show with Callan and Triple A.
Oh no,
Michael Brennan.
Ah,
I do enjoy the AIU stuff. I really do.
I know this. Did you see that? What's his name got canceled today? I can't. That dude from Joe Rogan. He did a bad joke.
Oh, Hinchcliffe.
Hedgecliff or yeah, I don't know what the dude's
Hinchcliffe.
name is.
A last name.
Stupid dude did an Asian joke, which he's not. You know, I don't know why he would do something like that.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he was free flowing with some funny things to say. We live in Taliban era times.
You can't
I
see
don't know.
nothing. Yes.
It wasn't.
It was very funny.
Yeah, it wasn't that funny. Unfortunately, he kind of went out with an unfunny joke.
Yeah. it was mean spirited. Like
Yeah, it did sound mean. Yeah, yeah, it did have. You're right.
Yeah, you can't do
Not
that if it's
mean-spirited.
mean
I
spirited.
thought it was harsh, and so I was like, you went too far. Like, I don't know.
He's got to know about cancel culture and all that stuff. You think he can't be that stupid of a person.
He could have been more clever.
Who fired him, Joe or Spotify?
Joe did, yeah.
Wow.
We were supposed to do a show
did
with
Joe,
Joe.
I
and
like
his name
that.
is gone from that show.
Oh, I see. Okay. So do you think it was Spotify or was it Joe Rogan?
I don't think he works for Spotify, does he?
Who's the company that he works for?
I think he just works on his own, doesn't he? Tony said-
No, isn't the whole empire under? Anyway, well, I hope it was a corporate decision, not Joe Rogan's.
Who knows? QWERTY, what are you doing?
Oh, sorry.
Are you can I take
I
a
got
guess?
like a-
Don't put in that glass again, dude.
I got like a really sensitive microphone where I raise my voice. It sounds like I'm yelling. Man, it's just this microphone technology is
Let me
not so good.
Let's see. Maybe I can.
So it was a little bit testy, a little bit rocky last week after the big fight. But this night where they were talking about the Corolla divorce, Dez actually got on Voice. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Did anybody ask?
She
her
was
any
flirty at
questions?
first. It was like you
Oh.
could tell they were making up or something. She was flirty at first. Then
Yeah.
Kyle asked for a threesome.
Who was
And-
going to be the third?
Hey,
yeah.
you know
well,
they've actually done that before, by the way, right? That's a little tidbit.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
What?
they've done it before. Yeah.
Spill the beans? What?
Well,
They-
I think you'll remember this. This is
Yeah.
what sort of set up the. Then he went in and told Dez that an ex-girlfriend of 15 years ago wanted him. She was separated.
She immediately
and
corrected
it
him.
was
She
on.
immediately corrected him. She was like, she just changed her name on her Facebook page. Calm down.
Well, that wasn't a good enough answer for Kyle because he was going to tell
He took
her.
a change of name that he wanted. She wanted him. Jeez.
And he was threatened to relocate the headquarters once again. She offered actually to pack his bags for him.
Now, did you hear, or did you guys hear, he would sooner move to Kentucky than he would to LA? Did you guys hear that?
Wow. I agree with him on that one.
Why?
Yeah.
Who'd want to live in LA now?
I've heard him say that on several occasions.
I think maybe because it's the worst place he can think of. And so
Uh-huh.
that's why it has to be below LA. So you'd say, I'd rather live in Kentucky than LA.
Even Johnny Depp chose LA over Kentucky. That's funny.
Well, you could get. I think he talked about it before years ago, where he was saying the rent is so cheap down there
Yeah, that's another. I mean, I'm not just saying, but like taxes and
In
rent in LA
Kentucky?
is. Oh God.
Well, he always has these philosophies of what rent is, and like you can get you can get a 3-bedroom house rented for $50 a month in Florida, and I'm
Well, I
like,
don't
well,
think
it's
we
not
can do
quite
that.
like that. He has these where rent prices are by state sort of thought. I guess in his mind, Kentucky or Tennessee would be very efficient.
Who's
place to live.
Windows 10 update?
He says you guys sound like Stern fans complaining about today's shows. Well, there's plenty to complain about Stern shows, so you'll be all right. Windows 10 update. I don't know who that is. So, he
Shepard?
says
Certainly not complaining.
years late to his show. Yeah, we haven't been watching from the beginning. Calm down. So,
Well, we're certainly not complaining about. It was interesting. Then he shot back at her that
we can have an opinion. So,
that night when they were he was talking about the ex-girlfriend. He shot at her. This is a very bizarre exchange. That she had bad breath the night before, and it was the worst he'd ever smelled. And she confessed she did, and the reason was because she was up till 2 a.m. drinking, and so that was her excuse. But this is what we got on camera. This is the behind the scenes. Hey, Stern doesn't give this to us.
She corrected him. She was saying that, it was not that bad and, whatever. But he was quite offended by it.
And look, as a Stern fan, I can tell you these aren't the details you get about Howard and Beth. You don't get these details.
That's true. You don't. You're right. You don't. You don't get any details aside from, a fake penny picture where she's cleaning up.
Oh, she's cleaning up cat poop.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You got a picture of her cleaning up cat poop. Exactly.
I mean, Howard Stern wouldn't let a person clean the house now, probably would he, because of the pandemic.
He goes from house to house and has it fumigated behind him. I mean, he has entire staffs of people to do this shit for him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's such a germaphobe and a weirdo that he won't let people into his house while he's there. But he'll pick up the whole operation, move to Florida like he did. And they'll fumigate behind.
Howard is insane. I don't know why he's, all of a sudden he's saying things like, those of us that have been vaccinated and stuff like that. He wouldn't say otherwise until, on it.
It's baptism for these germ nuts. They like to tell each other when they got baptized and all this nonsense.
Sad to me.
That night they were very flirty. The night about the girl on Facebook. I think there's a girlfriend from 15 years ago, by the way. They really find shit to fight about. They don't even need to be fighting about. They were really, really flirty with each other.
They were. I was like, you love her.
And I think he got really smashed and made some threats about, I don't know who was getting raped, him or her. I can't remember at this point.
His exact, he said he asked her if she was ready, because he was gonna rape her pussy.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And she kind of didn't hear, and he clarified for her because he was like, he was ready to just, go in and do this thing.
That's what he was saying, kind of off mic. I'm trying to listen. Oh, okay.
And this is all sideways to the camera. And she has to translate half of the stuff that he's saying because he's in mumble mode at that point. Sometimes she'll just go, I can't understand what you're saying, but they were lovey-dovey at that point, and they were just connecting.
It is very rare when she says that because a lot of times, I'm like, I don't understand what he's saying, and I can't make it out, and she understands it very well. She's very well versed in this sans affect.
Well, I think recently she's been saying that more and more that even she can't understand him. But I think the last couple days she's been a little bit better at the end of the night. He will dramatically cut off the stream, but there was a couple days where it was really bad.
All I know is that there was an ultimatum laid down and he's still on.
Look, we know who wears the pants. Actually, I have no idea who wears the pants. I have no idea what's going on. It's all a riddle. So, and he just won't take a day break. I'm looking down here. He did a Sunday show after that. And that, I don't really understand what's going on here. There's something like a second funeral for Pod Awful that he was doing a victory lap around. I didn't really understand what was going
Yeah,
on.
Curdy or Papa Gorilla, do you guys know anything about that?
I don't even know what that is.
He was
Pod Awful,
celebrating
never heard of
another
it.
takedown of Pod Awful. Apparently he stream sniped him, and I really couldn't make out what that was.
I think Pod Awful got kicked off of YouTube, right?
Okay.
By himself. So that was the first, Kyle victory. I'm not quite sure why Kyle claimed victory for that.
Well,
but in the
Kyle was saying that during the show he was like, yeah, you should have seen his face changed when he read something, and I really wasn't paying attention, but he was really, really happy that he affected Pod Awful / Jesse PS.
Yeah, he was very excited early, and then he started right out of the gate with it. I think he did go into this Jesse's guy and typed to him. I really can't understand what's going on, but he did a second funeral for the guy. He told us the last time that he didn't care about this guy ever again, but I guess he deserved a second funeral.
Windows 10 update says Pod Awful is now on Twitch for anyone that is interested. And of course, Ross Wilson says hello. Hi, Ross Wilson.
Hello, Ross Wilson.
All right, and so let's see. Windows update also says Pod Awful lost his second channel last week. So
yeah, he was on a second platform, which was why he was getting these donations, and I think he got bounced from that one too for whatever violation.
We will miss you, Pod Awful.
Bye, Pod Awful. It's like I never knew you.
I did know him.
You did?
No, I said I never knew him. I don't even know what it is.
Oh,
right. Kyle made some joke of he always observes stuff in the background, and he said that Pod Awful had the first flat stream ever invented and an old bubble screen, and then he giggled at him and he said, "You're done." Sad to me, whatever. The victories just keep rolling in. We got to get him a bell. Like they makes us watch on that Sam Tripoli show. They ring that bell in each other's faces. Have Dez come in and ring that bell right in his face.
Anyway, so
what do you think do you think he's been drinking a little bit less or something different? Because the length of the streams are about the same, and he hasn't been exactly keeling over like before.
Was that?
Okay, so he's definitely drinking the Bud Light, and
Bud Light,
it looks like it may be Hennessy. It's a different colored liquor in his.
It's not clear color like the vodka.
So it's not vodka like it was his go-to for I think a couple of years. You think he switched it up? Why do you think it's Hennessy?
You think it's malt liquor?
Why do you think it's Hennessy?
Because they've been talking about it so much. I guess when he gets paid, they opt for Hennessy.
God, they're like a 90s rap song.
Anybody here ever drink Colt 45?
I used to
when I was 17.
I've never drank Colt 45, but I've drank Mickey's, and
I drank it because of Billy D. Williams. I saw it. I wanted to be cool like him, so that's why I started drinking. And all I did is vomit, so it didn't do nothing for my coolness.
Oh, man. Yeah, it'll make you vomit. I've drank Mickey's and Hoffenreffer.
See, all I used to drink was beer and vodka.
Said, none of you were around when he lived above the liquor store? No, we weren't. I didn't listen. I've only been listening for about a year.
I don't remember.
Is that where he would stream from the laundry room, or what was called the laundry room?
Where he peed on the floor at?
Yeah, is that
where there was a missing tile?
I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was called Murphy's Liquor.
What the hell? How do you know that?
No, I don't think I was CV.
I think it was No, because I remember people were saying
Murphy Liquors.
Yeah, the only reason why I know that is because of the trolls. They used to say, "Hey, Murphy's Liquor."
Oh,
we know where you're at.
I didn't know. Yeah. Maybe I was and just didn't realize it. I don't know.
All right. CB says Colonial Liquors, and
Oh,
Two Master
okay.
says Murphy Liquors.
He lived above a liquor store.
I guess I don't.
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
They
though?
should have just
I'm
drilled a
joking.
hole in the floor and he could just reach right down and grab his liquor.
I think they had one of those what do you call those things where you could like send food up
A
and
dumbwaiter?
Oh, a dumbwaiter.
yes, a dumbwaiter. That's it. He probably had a dumbwaiter from the liquor store up to his apartment.
Now he's got Dez.
Oh, wow.
All right, trust me. All right, TV said that, and let's see here. All right, so Ross Wilson says he probably takes pills for mental illness.
Well, I
You
take
get drunk easy.
pills for mental illness, and that is the truth. You get drunker easy.
Well, that's a common theory within the
A
community.
lot of people think
that-
it's Xanax.
I take Xanax and stuff like that. And yeah, you
that
get
it's
fucked.
pills
You get-
aiding this, but Dez seems to have no idea what anybody's talking about
No,
when she talks
Des
about
said that
pills.
he's not on pills.
Oh, he's
and
not?
Of course, Kyle says he's not on pills.
I remember when I was at a hockey
I
game,
honestly think they would say if he was. They,
a while back,
Kyle
I
doesn't really look
they
like
don't have
he's.
reservations about that. I
took
don't
2
think.
clozapine and drank 2 beers.
All right,
and
you guys.
Oh.
CB has decided to join
Hey, CB.
us. Thank
Oh,
you. CB.
excellent.
Hi.
Good morning.
I-
So you guys
11:10
weren't.
p.m.
So you guys were not around when he lived above the liquor store.
I used to
No.
watch back then.
All right, so I'm
That-
gonna give you a quick rundown of how it went.
Please go.
So this was
Let us
before he was monetized. He used to have a donation goal on the screen of $500 per month, and every time there was a donation that was given, that it would change.
Mhm.
And toward the end of every month, he'd be at $380, and he would say, "If I don't meet the goal, I'm done live streaming." He would always
What
come
the
back. He
threats?
would always come back the next month and say, "We had a mystery donation after the show that got me the $500."
That is awesome.
So no matter where he was, and he would talk about it. Hey, we got 5 days left of the month, guys. We're only at $300. If I don't meet the goal, I'm just gonna play video games. I'm not gonna live stream anymore.
So he was like doing a telethon, but the goal wasn't to cure a disease. It was
Was to make as much
abandonment
money as you
threats.
can.
And
Yeah.
this is when when he first started, he lived in a house and he had a basement.
Oh, that's
and
okay. That's right.
Then he moved to a one apartment and happened to be above a liquor store. So the liquor store would close at 10 o'clock. He would get a donation, and people would wait to donate 2 minutes before the liquor store closed. And he would run down to the liquor store and get his drink and come back up. I mean, he would go down there barefoot and just get what he needed and come right back up. I mean, he would be gone for 1 minute or 2 minutes at the most.
That's fantastic and dedication.
And then when he moved to the house he's in now, he said he had to take a bus. And when he first started streaming from the house he was in now, one time he left the stream for about an hour and left it going to get on a bus to go
to
get
go to the
liquor.
liquor store.
Now I think they buy in bulk or they buy bigger bottles so they can buy something that lasts for 4 or 5 days
I think they have them delivered though.
or whatever. Maybe they
that's
have.
the last thing they've been talking about,
But he
having their
literally,
liquor
he literally
delivered.
would just buy, when he lived above the liquor store, he would just run down and buy a drink for the night. And people would donate 2 minutes before the liquor store closed on purpose to see him run down there. And sometimes he'd come back up and he'd be like, "Man, they closed 1 minute early. I couldn't get in."
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
It's like it's the opposite of doxing. It's giving somebody money, but it gets us moving and like puts them in this situation.
It moves their ass.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. That's creative too.
Oh, he
it's,
jumped
like,
up.
it's like when people
Oh, there it is.
donate the $1 just to.
Yeah, the guy did it tonight.
No,
You're
before
poor,
he-
you're
he-
poor,
he
you're
used to-
poor,
he
you're
used to have
poor.
a tracker at the bottom of the screen. He had a $500 a month goal.
Yeah.
No matter where he was on the last day, he'd always come back again on the first of the next month and say he had a mystery donation after hour got him to the goal.
Oh, Kyle!
But
I promise you,
you guys
our love
remember
for you, Kyle, is
when he first started, he used to have a call-in number. There was no Discord. There was no anything. He'd had a call-in number on the screen.
Yes.
People could call
Mhm.
into the phone number and talk to him. Like there was
That
no
was so much better.
There was no Discord back then. There was nothing. So, and back then, you couldn't play clips like you do now and do things.
Right.
He was forced to talk to people. That's all he could do.
That's an excellent point about the development of the show.
Yeah. I mean, so now it's like, why bother talking to people when he just plays a clip and he deletes it anyway. So he doesn't care about it. It's for him. It's just, you guys have to understand something. And I'm not trying to bash him, but you have to understand his family dynamic. There's 7 people living in a small 2-bedroom apartment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's his, like, he doesn't have like a basement or like a man cave to go hide out in,
That's what his closet is.
Yeah, he goes to his room, his closet, and he hangs out for 2 hours, and that's it. That's his kind of vacation. Like, his mom. I think his mom sleeps in the living room. He's got 4 little kids in one bedroom, and he's got Des in the other bedroom that's studying for school, watching TV. He has nowhere to go.
Well, he has shoes. Can he go outside?
Well, I mean, where are you going to do? I don't think that's
out there.
Anything. He doesn't outside in the world.
I'm
Does
just saying.
anyone remember the name of the guy who donated like $200?
Is that Scum God?
And
Two messages.
And he starts streaming now earlier. Sometimes he's streaming at 7:00 at night.
Yeah, it has become earlier and earlier.
So think about it, if you're on the West Coast, that's 4:00 for you. Who's stopping their day at 4:00 to watch him?
Hey, CB, your voice sounds real familiar.
Were you on Jimmer? I think he used to call in.
I never heard of Jimmer Dan.
Well, that's the point I wanted to make about the donations. He's been suckering people that he'll go all night, and then it's almost like it's irrelevant whether he gets donations or not. He's going to go off at the time when he wants to go off, and that usually is dependent on how the liquor's hitting him.
You guys have to remember, he's done this summer. Actually, for him is 3 years. I think it was like in July of 2018. So he's done over 1,000 shows. Wow. I know for some of you guys, him getting drunk is funny. I mean, it was funny the first 100 shows, but like after the next 900, it's like,
What was the frequency of passing out back then? I mean,
you guys have seen those, the pictures of him laying on the bed in the red T-shirts, passed out. You've seen, No,
CB, you're right. We do like that, but speaking for myself, I prefer to hear him comment on videos. I prefer that over the drinking.
For him, these shows, he does it for an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most. He plays his clips. And if some people give a couple bucks, he's happy. If they don't, he ends it and he deletes it.
From my point of view, he's most happy when he's talking to somebody on voice. He doesn't really.
I would agree with you 100%. You guys got to remember something. I listen to you guys sometimes, and I hear you guys talking about these old shows or these battles. You got to remember, he's done 1,000 shows. Maybe 100 of those shows were like fights with other people. 900 of those shows are just playing clips. It's not moving on. But for one man to talk to the chat for 2 hours by himself is very difficult.
It is.
So
when he did the fight, he did a pay-per-view fight.
How many people are here? There's 4 of you here.
Yeah.
If the 4 of you guys called in 3 nights a week, then if you guys want to at least talk about something he wants to talk about, like if you guys want to talk sports or you want to talk about whatever.
Well, can easy, I bring up a point? It seems like
let's CB finish. Hold on, let's CB.
Okay. No, I say when he's by himself in a room, it's very difficult. He doesn't want to read chat. He doesn't want to have to work too hard. For him, it's just very easy to play the clips, and that's it.
Sometimes it's hard to call in because he can't recognize. He doesn't look down to see who's calling in.
I totally agree with that too. I mean, you're 100% right. But those shows that you guys hear about, and oh my God, those were great shows. Those were shows when he had a second mic, when he had somebody to bounce things off of. And he doesn't have that anymore, and I don't know if he ever will.
No, you're absolutely right, CB, because even Des has said you guys need to call in. Like in general, anyone in the chat should call in, and I encourage it. Now, I would call in more, but people get tired of me calling in, and honestly, I'm not the face of my shadow. I think it's the group of us. But
And it also doesn't help that he starts his show so early. Who's going to stop their night at 7:30 or 7:45?
Oh, CB, I will stop my
watch
night.
him.
I'm joking.
You know what I'm saying? If he was doing a show at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I bet you he get a lot more participation from people
That
and
is
things
true.
like that. But he does his shows kind of because you got to remember too. I think he still gets these kids on the bus every morning, so he's
Right.
up early in the
Yeah.
morning with these kids. So
A year or two ago, didn't he do shows around midnight Eastern time?
he used to do shows. And he never started a show at midnight, but he would always do a show. 9 o'clock, 9 to 11, 9 to 10:30.
Oh, okay.
But now he's starting, I see sometimes I'll alert on my phone. I'm not even home. And it'd be like 7:30. Hey, he's live. I'm like, wow, that's early. But
Now-
he's got to get up early too.
Yeah. We've heard that there was a co-host or co-hosts, plural, and one of them was Cosmic. Now, what was the form of that? Did they have topics they would talk about, ideas from the day? Would they? How did it work?
Cosmic, I wouldn't really say he was a co-host.
Mhm.
He never really had a co-host. He was just a regular person. And again,
Okay.
these things only lasted a couple months. Like Cosmic wasn't with him for like years. When you're doing a show every day, if you're with somebody for 3 months, that's 90 shows.
So
You know what I'm
basically, he would
saying?
just open his mic and they would talk about whatever they wanted to talk about.
They would just, they would go back and forth and talk about stuff, because, this is an O&A community, so they would talk about Opie and Anthony all the time and talk about, things like that. So maybe they talk about sports and people would talk about, not only Kyle would talk, but other people would talk. Like Rex called in. He wasn't really a co-host, but he would come in and call in, for a couple months here and there.
All right.
But he never really, he had
Okay. For,
Two Master
We're
says
not
he
gay for
was,
Kyle.
attempted to do a podcast. I thought he did a good show, but he pulled the plug on that. Was that on Spotify? Is that what he was?
He was going to do a show. I think it was. See, this all started with Gonzo podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys know Gonzo.
Yeah,
Gonzo-
Gonzo.
yes, from the
Gonzo-
Stern Show.
No. Gonzo podcast is not.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that was a network.
This was a guy that had. He wanted to. This is when live streaming first started. He had like 15 shows a week.
Yeah. Didn't he have a high pitch Eric on his show?
He had 10 different shows. Every night there was 3 different shows on this guy's network. And he would recruit all these people to go against other podcasters. And then he would recruit these people and say, hey, come work for me and I'll pay you. The guy turned out to be a con artist and went
Yeah.
to jail.
Yeah, he went to jail. I remember he went to
Yeah.
jail for.
So
Can't remember
but
for what.
it all
For.
kind of started with that. But Kyle was, they approached him and said, hey, they approached a lot of those live streamers, Cosmic and Ross Dog and Jimmernam. They approached all those guys and said, come do a show, we'll pay you. This was 3 years ago when this all first started.
Did they ever get paid at all? Anything?
Some
I don't
of them
think they
did,
got paid
but,
what they were
but
supposed
again,
to.
it didn't last very long because
Right.
he was battling with some other people, and some other people started digging and found out he was what's the word?
Swindled?
Swindled
Swindled.
people out of money.
He embezzled $300,000 from an elderly couple,
Okay.
Ooh.
and they
boy.
called the guy's wife at work and told her that he's living in her house
that's
doing
horrible.
these shows, and they're going to have her arrested. She divorced him,
Hmm.
and he was on the run from the cops, and they caught him in a park and arrested him.
That's a damn interesting story. And so
Yeah.
Kyle was involved. He was
was never
receiving a
involved. He was
a
never-
stipend from that.
They wanted him to do a show for them. They said, hey, you're an interesting guy. Come be on our network and do a show. I don't think he ever did a show.
Can I ask you a question? What kind of show would they expect from him when they say do a show from us?
Those shows. You got to remember back then the shows are like they are now.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of it wasn't playing any clips. You get online,
Right.
you talk, you deal with the audience. You take some phone calls, and that was it.
And that's what was expected of,
That's all it was.
just to sort of vamp and ramp what's coming off the top of your head and take some calls.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Mhm.
One show wants to talk about football. One show wants to talk about Opie and Anthony. One show wants to talk about Howard Stern. One show wants to talk about. There was one girl. What's the girl? What's that girl? Mama June. What's the woman?
Yeah,
Her,
Honey Boo Boo.
her daughter was doing a show for them.
Oh,
Pumpkin.
Oh,
yeah, that was
Honey
the
Boo Boo.
Yeah,
sister of
yeah,
Honey Boo
yeah.
Boo.
She was doing a show for these people. So they had all these weird. So they would have all these weird people on doing shows.
What were they like? Were they just stunningly boring or weird or what?
I mean, back then it was new.
Oh,
You know, like you got to remember too. 2 years ago, not many people live stream anymore. It's see the problem is with Kyle. I'm not saying it's to his advantage. He doesn't care. There's nothing you can say or do to him to hurt him. He just doesn't care. Other people that used to live stream all the time, it got personal. People were contacting their family. People were calling the police, and none of these people, they got tired of it, and they stopped live streaming.
do you think Kyle's philosophy is anything for content? If it gets me
He just-
$10
he-
a
he-
donation, let's just do it.
How many times have people called the police on him, social services, and they've come to his house saying that you're abusing your kids or your kids are not being fed?
That is so terrible.
A ton of times.
Ugh.
Because somebody, posts his address or posts his real name or something like that. And somebody, if you know
That's
somebody's
sweet.
real name, you can look up anything online and find
Right.
the address.
CB,
You know that he says his name and he's given out his address. He's doxed himself. He doesn't care about being doxed. But
He
it's
doesn't care.
some people.
He doesn't care. That's the one thing about him that he.
So why do other people
he-
care?
He's outlasted everybody because he doesn't
That's
care.
true. Mm-hmm.
Like if I was a live streamer and my name got out there or my personal life, I would be upset if people were contacting my mom or contacting family members or loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
That would bother me. But Kyle doesn't care. You want to, his mom is, wherever.
Yes. Under a
dead.
bridge, he said.
So yeah, whatever. So I mean,
Mhm.
he doesn't have a big family. He doesn't have anybody to hurt.
And
His
you think
kids are-
personally, let me ask you a question. I asked him when we interviewed him if he goes back and watches ever
No,
to see what
he
he did
doesn't.
the night before.
He doesn't.
And I find that crazy.
doesn't.
He
He doesn't.
never
He-
ever goes to see
He
what happened the night
literally-
before.
He literally does what he does, and that's it. He doesn't. I'm sure when he turns his computer off and he ends the show, he doesn't even think about anything that happened.
Aw.
He eats, he goes to bed, he watches TV. That's it. He doesn't care.
Good for
He does this. He does this as a hobby. I mean, he's not making enough money to buy a car or
Can you
pay for
tell me
rent.
a little
Sorry
bit
that.
about
My
his?
internet went down.
Oh,
I'm sorry, what?
okay, welcome back. Can
I
you
said
tell
my
me about
internet
like
went down. Sorry about that.
a lot of times he has, I would call them delusions of who he's going to interview. Does he actually contact these people to get something a little
You
bit
gotta remember-
started?
You got to remember something with him. You can look at anytime he gets a whiff of anything, he throws it out there.
Right.
Kobe Bryant dies with 3 daughters in the helicopter crash. He puts it out on the internet. But does it, whatever it is. Oh, I'm going to be interviewed
Oh,
with this
that's
person.
true.
I'm going to be
That's
interviewed
true.
with this. He puts those names out there.
But if he doesn't care about the live stream, why would he tempt us with future Kevin Brennan interviews that
Because
just aren't going to
he
happen?
wants Kevin Brennan to get. Oh, it's like you guys are listening to Who Are These Podcasts?
Yes,
So they said,
I do.
I was listening to a show they did a couple weeks ago, and they played a clip of him saying, "I'm going to be on Who Are These Podcasts," and they're like, "We never asked him to be on. If he wants to come on, he can come on." But that's what he wants. He wants people to talk about him.
Back in the day, didn't he actually
He
work
does enjoy
hard?
it and revel in it. That's true.
Didn't he actually
yeah,
work hard to get to the O and Egg people, to their producers and stuff? He used to work that
Well, he
through
used to
Twitter.
He used to
Yeah.
call in. He used to call in. He went to one of their live shows in New York City. It was about 2 years ago. He went. What was it? I can't remember who was it. Jim Norton, one of those guys. He did the show. That's where he met Unbleached at the show.
I saw that picture when they met.
Him and Unbleached always go back and forth about how short Kyle is or who's taller. In my opinion, I think I don't know who's taller. I've never seen. I don't think Kyle is very tall.
No, he's a short guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's, I don't know what you
He's
consider
slight.
short, but
Mhm.
So what you're saying, I still think it's a little bit delusional. It kind of sells what he's going to be involved with. You're saying if he gets a little whiff, a little taste, a little
it's like
anything, he's
an
going to
example.
promote
He
it.
was
He's a
putting out-
salesman.
He kept putting out that rumor, I'm going to be on with Monique and Brent. There was
Right.
never,
Yeah,
there
I
was
remember
never
that.
anything. Monique never once thought about bringing Kyle on with Brent. He wants to put it out there because he wants. Oh, does Kyle want to come on?
I asked him about that
I
specifically.
believed it. I believed it.
There's no. And
and
listen, that's his job. His job is to get people to talk about him.
Yeah.
But it's
Well, what do you-
unfortunate. It's unfortunate that sometimes he really has. The one thing everybody takes away from him is, they just want to see him get drunk on the show and mumble and stumble. It's kind of sad, It's
She
like
did?
I wish people would
Francis
talk
said
about
that
him.
Monique did ask Kyle. He told him
I don't
herself.
believe it.
I don't
He's
believe
been
that.
on Monique's show
On Monique's
before.
Monique doesn't need Kyle to interview Brent. She wants to ask her own questions.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
he's been on Monique's show before.
No, he has been. They're friends. But I don't
Yeah.
think, if if you're going to land a big interview with Brent, you don't want somebody else to be there with you. You want to do it yourself.
So CB, you would say that the show is not always like this because the technology was a little bit different. The show's different now. What do you think it's going to be like in the future? I asked him; he didn't care where it's going to go.
Well, I mean, 3 years ago, nobody ever thought there'd be a Discord. We had 800 people in Discord chatting and sharing pictures and sharing the links to news articles. And you never thought 3 years ago there'd be a show with 5 people talking. We don't know what it's going to be like 5.
Yeah.
You don't know, but I'm just saying. I mean,
Do you think because right now he's doing his 2 to 3 minute videos midday, and at night he really doesn't care about the streams? It's donation time. It's just kind of. Do you think that's how it's going to be? The stream's going to be for donation.
It's literally donation time, and it's him to get a break from his family. He goes into his room, shuts the door, smokes a couple cigarettes, has some drinks, and that's it.
It's just a little vacation. It's a little beach.
If any of you guys are married or whatever, sometimes you just want to get away from people. You want to go down to your basement and just chill out and watch TV. That's what he does. That's what his live stream is.
Mhm.
Yes, I do that a lot of days,
Yeah,
but I'm not married. Thank
He
you.
just wants to get away from the kids yelling and screaming. And I don't know what time they eat dinner. Maybe around 7:00. Maybe that's when Dez is making dinner. He's like, okay, I'm going to go to my room and do my thing.
So
What do
what
you
you're
think the
saying?
char- Oh, go
you're
ahead. I'm
saying
sorry.
Kyle's a very convincing liar. In other words,
I'm not saying he's not a liar, but with him, it's just he likes to throw things out there. He wants to see what's
Mhm.
going to stick.
Yeah.
What do you
That's
think
all.
the charm of Kyle is? I watch other streams and Ian Ellis, whatever, and they
You
can't
gotta-
help but talk about Kyle. There's something charming and fascinating and ghetto and delicious and awful
listen, like,
and great.
Obviously, the mother-in-law thing recently was a talk of a lot of people. 'Cause she,
Oh yeah.
that's I don't care who you are. If you're live streaming in a room and somebody comes in and starts hitting you,
Yeah.
But all these other shows, that are on there, it's not just one guy doing a show. It's 4 or 5 people, friends getting together and talking.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's like for Kyle, he doesn't have anybody else. So
Right, but
you really
What do
can't
they
expect-
respect? It's he's charming. He's very good at zings and stuff. In fights, he's excellent. Let's just admit it. Whether he's drunk or not, he is hilarious when he fights with somebody.
I would probably disagree, but
I'm not saying it's technically great, but it's
his
just
big
funny.
thing is, he when you fight with him on his show, first of all, you can't hear the other person that he's fighting with because their volume is so low,
No.
and he just overtalks you, and then he mutes you, then he kicks you and says, "Oh, I didn't ban them. They can come back."
Yeah,
anytime they
exactly.
want." That's what he does. There's 30 guys that want to come back into the Discord that are banned,
True.
and he keeps saying, "Oh, they're not banned. They can come back anytime they want. They're not banned."
Very true. That is very true.
So that's his move.
Yeah.
You talk to him, he lowers your volume, or his volume is just so much louder than yours. He overtalks you, then he kicks you. Goes, "I didn't kick him. I didn't ban him. He can come back." "Oh, he lost. I smashed him."
It's not louder than Sam Tripoli's because Sam Tripoli blows our ears out.
That's why it's like people like It's
Why
like,
are the volume levels so different in his stream between what he
That's-
plays, his
you'd have to-
broadcast, and the caller?
You'd have to look at his computer settings. I have no idea.
Do you think that microphone's real? I don't. I think it's fake. I think it's a prop to cover over his face.
I think it's a real microphone.
Well, I mean,
think
it's a real microphone. I don't think it's plugged in.
I don't think it's plugged in or it doesn't work.
See,
Yeah, there. Exactly.
Because you can,
I agree, CD, because I asked
you
him
can
to
tell
pick up the microphone and choke it, and he
you
wouldn't.
can tell it's coming from the computer mic.
Yes.
Exactly.
But that's
I asked him right to his
that's-
face. He said he didn't know what I was talking about.
That's his, that's his signature with the mic covering him. All you see is his hat. That's his thing.
He could have just told me that.
That's hilarious.
No,
Now,
but-
I do have to interrupt you guys. Two Master said the idea was if Brent came in hot or the interview became hostile, Monique would tag Kyle in. Once Brent made it clear he didn't want to fight, Monique didn't want Kyle.
I would
that's-
probably disagree because I think Brent, was interviewing with somebody else before
Mhm.
that, and he said, "I'm going to talk to everybody except for one person," and then what he said was about Kyle. So I think
He would
anytime
never
you would-
agree to an interview with Kyle, and Monique wouldn't do ambush journalism. I don't think it was ever said.
Exactly, and I think if let's say Kyle got on, Brent would have just immediately hung up. Said, "I'm ending the interview."
Yeah, exactly.
So there would have never been a chance for Kyle to ask one question.
Mhm.
I asked, here's another piece of evidence. I asked him what he was going to ask Brent Hatley because I don't write anything down. I'm just going to ask him to do whatever. It's stupid.
All he's going to talk about is his wife being on OnlyFans. He's sharing his wife with other men. He's not making any money. It's the same thing. What else
Right.
is he going to ask him?
And Monique wouldn't allow that. Monique wove that into the interview, but in a very careful way, three-quarters of the way
I mean,
through.
Brett's old co-host from the Bubba Show went on all these shows and trashed him. So Brett tried to do damage control and went around to all these shows, and he would what was that guy Manson?
Yeah.
Manson, yeah.
And then he went to all the shows that Manson went on and said, "Hey, this is what really is going on." And Brett's having a tough time because he's getting kicked off Twitch a lot. He has a ton of trolls that are always, blah blah blah. And he gets mad because people post his wife's pictures online, and he has to take them down. And
He's like a complete substance abuser. I think he admitted he was on a 1.5-year bender, right?
Yeah.
Brent Hatley.
If
He
you were that-
admitted to
if you-
Monique.
if you're in that kind of lifestyle, you're definitely not clean. Now, I mean, is there anything wrong with having a couple beers once in a while? No.
Oh, I don't think he has a couple beers once in a while. I think he's been
Is there
effed up
anything
for about a
wrong
year
with-
and a half.
Is there anything wrong with smoking a little bit of something? Probably not. Not my thing, but it's
no,
Yeah, I think
think they're way
there's
more
a
into
clip
it than
on
that.
there's a clip on YouTube of him blackout drunk getting very violent on the Bubba Show from years ago.
so. I mean, I wish you guys were around. I wish you guys. It's like you guys can. It's like when you hear about things, you can watch all the clips you want, but to see something live happen, it was probably a great experience. And unfortunately, 3 years ago, people weren't making recordings like right now. If Kyle blows his nose, 18 people are making a clip of it.
Mhm.
But 3 years ago, nobody thought. 2 years ago, nobody thought to make these clips and do all this stuff. That's what you can find some stuff out there, but the famous one is when he was living in the house, he got drunk and he stands up and turns to the side and starts peeing on the floor. That's like the most famous Kyle clip.
I think one of the funniest things I've ever seen on probably the internet or anywhere is when they left the mic open on Hotel Night and Unbleached was broadcasted live. And
Well,
it was because of funnies, and he called in, called the hotel, called the
they're
Taco
making too
Bell.
much, telling they're making too much noise, calling saying that the delivery, and then the
It was
baby was
amazing.
crying in the back, and he's telling the baby to shut up.
But the mic was perfect. It was so clear. He couldn't have set it up that well.
That was a rough time for them. They were homeless. They got kicked out of the house, and they didn't have the second apartment yet. They were living in a hotel for a while.
Oh
Well,
wow, I didn't know that.
through pain came some enjoyment. I guess.
I mean, because they left the house for whatever reason. Kyle says it's because of Dez. I don't know if that's true, but for whatever reason they left. That house was nice for Kyle because he had a nice basement to himself. He made it to a studio.
Aw.
And they had a nice yard for the kids to play in. It probably wasn't a huge house, but they
What
left
did
the
he
house.
do with the studio that he doesn't do in the closet? Would
Well,
he
no, I
move
mean,
around, use his environment?
No. Just
Doing activities.
no. He didn't do anything. He was the same thing. He used to wear that red puffy like starter jacket
The
all the
jacket.
time
Yeah.
with the hat, and he had the ceiling tiles were unfinished basement, and he would sit down.
Yes. I used to talk to him. I wouldn't talk on voice, but I used to type to him about his I used to call him the skylights.
Yeah. So that was at least he had a place to go and kind of get away from everything. Now it's like he's relatively forced into a utility closet.
Well, how long do you think this can go on, this direction? I mean, his health is failing him a little bit.
I mean, I think he's he's a little bit 37, 36.
Yeah, he's resilient. Kyle is resilient.
Well, it just depends on your genes. I mean, if maybe his body can. When I was if you're 30, just depends on your age and how you treat
Mhm.
yourself. I mean, I don't think he's getting much activity in the way of exercise or fresh air, but
Maybe his Cape Verdean superpowers will kick in.
yeah, I don't think that's true about his. He never met his father.
Oh,
You think it was family lore that they came from Cape Verde?
I mean, supposedly, his
he was
mom-
giving us his life story the other day. He was talking about his grandfather and
Well, he was obviously raised by his grandmother. At least I
Mhm.
think his grandmother was a nice lady and raised him. And I think Kyle came up in, I would probably say, a nice middle class family.
hopefully, yeah.
He was a kid.
Well-
I think he had.
He's from in Rhode Island. It has the biggest Cape Verdean community in the United States, so there might be a.
I'm not saying Des claims otherwise. That his mother was taken advantage of by the husband, and I don't know if it's true.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of details come flying, and it's hard to pick out what's true or not. Hopefully, we'll get
Listen,
Des
yeah.
on an interview.
Listen, I mean, these guys, like me growing up, I lived in a nice middle class family. We did the vacations every year. My mom and dad provided for me and my brother. Not everything, but we had bikes, we had toys, nice Christmas. But not everybody has that growing up, and some people just don't know any better.
Mhm.
I'm proud of Des that she's trying to go to school because she knows,
Yes.
she's trying to do
Absolutely.
something. But Des didn't have an easy life growing up. I think she left the house when she was like 12 or 13.
Aw.
She was out on her own. She's got 13 brothers and sisters.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Is she
her-
Puerto Rican, or did I invent that in my head?
her father was a black guy. Mom's white. Obviously you've seen her mom is white, but
Right.
she's
Oh, okay.
her dad. I don't think he ever got married to any of these women, but he's got kids with several different women. So I mean,
Yeah, Kyle's talked about a window business or something like that in the family.
he's got some family, I think, that have some type of how successful these businesses are. Nobody knows, but it's unfortunate. It's just he just sits home all day. He could go out and get a job. I guess they make enough money getting whatever assistance they get or whatever help they get for their kids that support themselves.
Do you think it's a good idea for Kyle to revamp his show and maybe?
I think he shouldn't do a show at all. I think he should go out and get a job.
Yeah.
Oh, see.
Have you ever seen him do a show without alcohol? Ever? A whole 2 hours?
Well, there was a while there. He didn't. There was sometimes he didn't have any money to buy drinks.
Oh, okay.
This alcohol thing on a nightly basis is
It's
maybe
good times.
Yeah, but there was a time where he didn't have any money. Sometimes he used to come in on the Discord and say, "Somebody please donate $3 so I can go buy a chaser."
Mhm.
And he could get the money that quick, would go right into his account.
Yeah, because I think when you donate to PayPal or whatever he uses,
Right.
those go automatically to like a card. That's why he doesn't want you to do through super chats because
Right.
you got to wait to the next month.
And since he deletes his videos, that doesn't work, right?
I have no idea. I'm not a YouTube expert, so I don't know if you donate. I would imagine if you donate. I mean, I've donated years ago $20. I don't ever remember the money being refunded to me. but I could be wrong. I don't know.
He definitely does not like the super chats.
No,
He
because you don't
prefers
get the money right away. You have to wait till you get paid
Right.
the next month. So if you donate $10, then you have to wait.
Mm-hmm.
If you donate, what other way does he ask you to donate? Venmo, PayPal, whatever.
And I know you said that a lot of people weren't recording back then. It's hard. His Twitch only goes back about a year. Where is there a way that we could find videos?
He's had multiple Twitch accounts. He used to have. You get kicked off or something. You have to start a new account.
Right. Is there a place we can find old videos that even other people would have of him?
I mean, it just
there's a limited reservoir on YouTube.
When your account gets terminated, you lose those videos.
Right.
So if he used to broadcast on Periscope and Twitter, but he's changed his Twitter and Periscope. Well, Periscope is gone, but he's changed his Twitter a few times over the years. He had one Twitter account. He had like 15,000 followers, and they deleted his Twitter because I think he was doing some politics stuff. This was a year or two ago. So so when those videos are out there, but when you lose the account, usually the videos get deleted.
Yeah, I was thinking if like maybe Cosmic was fighting him. Maybe on Cosmic's end, you could find video of him. I don't know, something like that.
Nobody really, like I say, just Googling, just putting his name in YouTube is going to be your best bet to find old videos. Like there's nobody out there that has like some secret Saints Entertainment. I don't know. You can go to Reddit, maybe. There used to be a Saints Entertainment Reddit. I don't know if there still is.
Why doesn't he follow his own? Why doesn't he interact with his own Discord?
He doesn't. For him, it doesn't. He does as minimal, as light as he can. He's not vested in this. This is for him. This is a hobby.
Like Howard Stern.
Toolmaster said that he can find some of his podcasts he did for Gonzo. Wayne Harrison YouTube channel has his old video clips from years ago, but not the stream.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, if you go to YouTube and type in Saints Entertainment and all,
there's
people out there. There's, like I said, there's no one person out there that has some ultimate library of Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say the height of the Kyle Saints Entertainment experience was? What was his like best stretch?
I'm the man. I mean, what do you mean by best? Like, I mean, what do you mean?
Like when he was most interactive, he was having a good time. Wasn't totally smashed.
It was just the times where he had somebody to talk to. He could have those times again if he could get a regular person to call in every night and build a rapport with.
All right.
I agree.
Well, we'll have to spread the message, spread the word.
Like as an example, like one of you, I mean, it's hard to do it every night, but if even 2 or 3 nights a week, if somebody would just come on, but you got to talk about what he wants to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. You got to be up to date on all
He's
this.
very skittish about guests and talking to other people. I think he's changed a little bit since
honestly, I don't think he wants to do that anymore. I think he likes doing what he does. He likes playing. And you got to remember too, I think he's got to deal with a lot of these people. Like Red Bar. Red Bar used to give him a free subscription. Red Bar likes him playing his clips. Yeah. Because people go to the Red Bar and subscribe. I think he's got to deal with Brian Callen, where they know, hey, I'm going to play a half an hour of your show from today. How many people did know Brian Callen before he started playing? People, so I think there's.
Well, I hope that's not the case because it's dreadful. It's hard to sit through both of those. It really is, and he takes a lot of heat.
Again,
he knows we don't want to hear it.
He goes in his room, he closes his door, he lights up his cigarette, he has his drink, he hits play. And that's it. For him, it's perfect. I don't think he's ever going to go back to, like he used to be. And, but like I say, he's probably done over 1,000 shows, maybe 150 of those, 200 of those shows he had somebody to talk to. The other 800 shows, he's by himself. It wasn't a lot. Like people think, don't think Cosmic was with him for years. This was a couple months. But, when you're streaming every day, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a lot, and honestly, there's nobody for him to really fight with anymore. All those people he used to fight with in the past, they don't even live stream anymore.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like those Rostog guys, the Jimmernam guys, they're gone.
Right.
They don't stream anymore hardly because it's a lot of BS with streaming.
I kept asking. It seems like everyone went to their corners. Where did they go?
Unbleached completely disappeared a couple months ago. You know, when somebody harassed his mother and sent his mother pizzas at 1:00 in the morning,
gee.
he disappeared. He said, "I can't do this anymore."
No, that's unfortunate.
And he was another one that him and Kyle used to go at it all the time and stuff like that. It just, like I say, Kyle doesn't care. There's nothing you can do to him to hurt him. And that's the difference between him and everybody else.
And you think nihilism has driven everybody else off that used to have fun doing it?
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, it's you know, I mean, again, 3 years ago it was new, it was fun. You know, it was the thing to do.
Right.
I mean, there was a time where, you know, you would just sit by your computer and wait for your favorite person to go live.
I think Kyle has talent. The videos he makes midday, they're always not really what I want to follow, whatever. But he has a presentation. He has a way of describing that I think there is something there, and he just refuses to pursue it.
I mean, it's very difficult. Like, he makes it sound like it's easy. It's very difficult to make money on YouTube. If it was easy to make money on YouTube, everybody would do it. You get 1,000 views, you get 50 cents or 75 cents. I mean, you know,
and no one's going to sponsor him. Do you remember when he got that sponsor?
He used to do he was doing some bet online.
Yeah.
Well, they were doing that stuff around the holidays. You know, they're all those places and do that stuff. But, you know, he does edgy, but he deletes the streams. So what's the sense of being a sponsor for him? If
I don't know. I don't know what the business plan is.
Because if you're a sponsor and you give him money, you would hope people are going to not only watch live, but people are going to watch the replays. If there's no replay to watch, why are you going to pay him?
Right.
So he's not going to get any sponsors if he deletes the live streams. He has to delete the live streams because of the content he plays.
So no more bookie.ag. All right.
Well,
Is that what it was?
onlinebookie.ag. Yeah, but he's not going to get a sponsor to pay him if he's going to delete the streams.
Do you remember those reads? I wish I had them recorded.
I mean,
they were fantastic.
I remember some of them, but, you know, I mean, like I say, you know, it's like, you know, the shows back in the day were good because it was all new. But it's like, after you watch him for 900 shows, you know, him getting drunk and slurring, and it's like, you've been there, done that. And it's unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of other people, you know, to battle with. You know, there's just not a lot of people. You know,
that's what I figured.
The Pod Awful guy, you know, it's like, you know, he's off YouTube. You know, him and Mercer battling. You know, and all that stuff. But you got to remember, like Mersh and Royce, they used to have a show on Sirius XM. They're professionals. You know, they know what they're doing.
Or they were. I mean, you can't call Mersh a professional right now. I mean, he's a little bit off his game.
They were getting paid good money to a show on satellite radio.
Agree. Yeah.
You know,
they were taking chances. Sirius were throwing out money for different projects, and I don't know. I think Mersh could have spun into something a little bit more productive.
I'll tell you, I mean, Kyle, if he really wanted to, I'm sure he could get a job on Compound Media. You know, making 200. You know, what are they paying Kevin Brennan? $200 a week. They pay Kyle $200 a week, come and do a show on there, but he's not going to go to New York City once or twice a week and do a show.
No, that's not a possibility.
Yeah, so I mean, but he could easily get something like that. But, you know, it is what it is. You know, like I say, you know, just unfortunately, you guys are just, you know, a little late, and you hear all these lores about these tremendous shows. I mean, there were some good shows. I mean, but again, back then it was all new. Now it's just the shows now are just like you guys. It's just 4 or 5 friends sitting together just talking about stuff. There's no more fighting anymore online. There's none of that stuff's going on anymore. And is it better? Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see here.
I mean, what's the most exciting thing he does now? He rents a big fight.
Yeah.
And he invites all these people to come watch, and then he doesn't even want to watch the pre-fights. And all he does is complain. You know, he just wants to watch the main fight. You know,
the last one, he was so upset. He had to vamp for 2 hours because he couldn't get the start time right. And he was yelling that no one ever gets knocked out in boxing. Right after that, the guy got knocked out.
I mean, God bless him. You know, he's doing what he wants to do. And, you know, if he's happy, all you can do is be happy for him. But,
I think he can be happier.
And
I
listen,
think
somebody else will come along this year, next year, the year after, and reinvent themselves and be the best show ever.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it always happens.
You know? Yeah. So I mean, people, but Kyle's going to be the type of guy, unless something life changing happens, he's going to be doing this for the next 20 years.
I don't think his body's going to hold out 20 years.
I'm just saying anything life changing. If something happens or whatever.
Yeah.
This is, for him, it's just it's a hobby. Whatever money he makes, it pays for his food, pays for his cigarettes,
True.
and buys his booze, and he's happy. That takes care of everything else.
She sure does.
So,
All right. Well, I think you've said it all.
Said it all.
CB.
Thank you,
Yeah, that was
CB.
great. That was great. Thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
so
on.
much.
Yeah.
Fantastic insight. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it, of course. Thank
all right,
you.
guys. You guys have a good night. I got to go to bed.
Okay. Thank you very
Thank
much, brother.
you. Have a good
Yeah.
night.
Take care.
Well, that was excellent. Excellent interview
Yeah.
from CB, and we'd love to hear from anybody else that'd like to come on and tell a tale about Kyle.
Absolutely. Sounds like Cuppa is a guy to interview next.
About Kyle?
Yeah. Like, what's going on there?
We forgot to do our intro. Maybe I'll do it as an outro.
Go ahead.
So that was a good recording there, guys. Appreciate it a lot. This was what was the title of this? We're staying in the closet.
Yes, staying in the closet. Mom and dad are not going anywhere. Dad is staying, drinking.
And so thanks for listening to the My Shadow stream. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and donate. The preferred way of donating is vodka.
Ready? Hot Tub Gorilla and Supper Discords. Thank you and good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care. Take care. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.